Hey y'all, just wanted to stop by and share some thoughts. I'm actually waiting to pick up my daughter from school, and that's what I do when I'm in line. um, you know, it's it can be a very harsh world out there, and so what's on my mind is that, I don't know how it is for you, but anytime I visit a church building, I know that the true church, is the believers, all right, that make up the body of Christ. I get that, but I'm talking about going to, a church building. They're always full. And then I get out on the streets, I go shopping, I drive around, whatever it is, and I'm like, where are these same people at? Because, there's a difference in people who proclaim to have the love of God inside of their heart and who live by that to the best of their ability. I mean, still, they're going to be imperfect. But there's a difference in those people and then the people who also proclaim to have the love of God in their heart and are very much contributing to the coldness, the harshness, the selfishness, the just being a jerk, when you're out and about. There's a difference. And so I think that right there turns a lot of us off to going to church, because we question the sincerity of people. And I don't want to discourage you, because I think that there are good churches out there. Unfortunately, the Bible flat out tells us, this is not me, that there are wolves in sheep's clothing, which means that there are going to be a lot of people that are wearing the sheep's clothing that are, proclaiming they're hypocrites. They're proclaiming to have the love of God inside of them, but it's not really there. They're not living it. And so I don't know what it is, but when it starts to be the holiday season, we get into November or December, doesn't it seem like people just really start to get more and more selfish and impatient with one another and cruel? Just, it's like that where I live anyway. And so I just wanted to share some thoughts. I mean, I was sitting here thinking this stuff anyway, and I thought, why not just hit record and just say hello and share my thoughts with you. But I would just say the advice I would give you is the same I'm going to give myself, and that is, number one, be careful out there. I think that, there are people who have reached a certain level of maturity and they are able to make light of hard situations and regulate themselves and not act on any kind of triggers. But then there are those who haven't gotten there. And so, as stress is elevated towards the end of the year, it's gonna affect certain people, and I think that we want to just be conscious of that. And I made a little I may share it with you all here in a little while, but I've been having a lot of fun in one of my journals, just playing around and being creative with scraps, paper scraps and stamps and paint and all kind of stuff. And I made this little entry that I felt called to add some words to, and the words I added were open heart. And I think that I used to not really understand how you can have an open heart without being vulnerable and putting yourself at risk out there for these wolves in sheep's clothing, but I think that you can. And it's I know the Bible mentions putting on the armor of God, and that's kind of vague, and I think that for me anyway, to add some practicality to this whole concept, I think that we can operate with an open heart but still be reserved and guarded. And where a lot of us fall into sticky situations when we're out and about is that we may have grown up learning to be a people pleaser. And when that's a part of your automatic personality and being, then I think that is what gets us into these sticky situations. Like for me, I've always been overly considerate. I realize now that I wasn't really balanced in this way. I was just so open with my heart and my consideration towards others that, you know, I was often offended. You know, if I was out in traffic or whatever it was, I would easily get triggered and offended too, because I expected that same level of consideration, you know, from everybody. It's like, why not? But I think that you can grow up off balance for various reasons. It's not to blame anybody, but just family dynamics, or, you know, maybe even the school you were brought up in, or you learned, you were a part of when you were growing up, whatever it is. There's so many different influences coming at you when you're growing up that you can basically wind up thinking that you are reasonable and you're really off balance with your open-heartedness and your consideration. And so it kind of gives you an unrealistic outlook on life. And I'll add some more in just a second. So here's what I'm getting at. The Bible, basically, if we take that to heart, it arms us with the information we need. And if I've got time, I'll follow up this video with some comments or some thoughts down in the description that support this. But the Bible explains that the world is a harsh place, and, you know, that we're supposed to look to God and trust God, and not to trust other people, and not to place our trust in the hands of others and all this. So it explains this, and it even especially talks about in the last days, people's hearts are going to grow even colder. And so it's kind of like, what are you basing your expectations on? Is it based on how you think in your own perspectives and the way you think things should be, or is it more rooted in reality? And, you know, it doesn't have to be reality alone. If you just want to consider yourself a realist, sometimes that can bring you down. You know, just getting real with yourself about the state of the world, it can truly bring you down. But if you look at the Bible, I mean, look at how old this is. And so if you truly dedicate yourself to studying this book, this holy book, it will reset your expectations in a realistic way that also arms you with understanding and context and hope and everything else. So then you can still consider yourself a realist. You can consider yourself as getting back into balance with your outlook on life and your expectations when you're engaging with people, but yet you're not going to be just left hopeless. So hope comes along with that. And so that's just my thoughts. And it's kind of like it's always been there, and I just sort of kick myself that I haven't studied it, you know, more intensely in the past. I've always been someone who has really enjoyed learning, and I have read my Bible, but I haven't read it to the degree that I wish that I had. And so, because I realize now that if you are, I don't know, fortified, if you are filled with this information early in life, then things are not going to be as shocking to you when you're out and about and you're experiencing different things. You're going to know what to expect, and you're going to be more in balance. So I hope this helps. If you have any thoughts, feel free to share those in the comments below. And I'm sorry, I've just been super busy. It's been raining a lot here, and it's bringing in colder weather, and super windy last night. Not stormy, but super windy. But it's put off a lot of my outdoor projects, and I've got to get them completed pretty soon. But there's just been a lot of things that I've had to do that have been put off for various things that have popped up in my life, and I've got to take care of some things. But I just wanted to pop in and say hello, share some thoughts, and I hope that you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you again very soon.